When your students are empowered to create, they become more motivated, intentional, and successful learners. They become active creators and develop higher-order critical thinking and problem-solving skills that will serve them in all aspects of their lives. In this course, we show you how to build in opportunities to help students develop and demonstrate their essential creative skills through authentic performance activities and assessments. You can begin teaching these skills in any discipline, course, or class by including active learning projects with opportunities for inquiry, where students focus on problem-solving, collaborating, producing. Assessments and activities and lessons with an element of performance require higher-order skills and challenge students to perform or create as they provide rich evidence of their learning. Let's hear from the experts who have thought about or designed inspiring approaches to teach essential creative skills in K-12 and in higher ed.
I've found that students really benefit from having the opportunity to be able to follow their curiosity, to be given questions, to be able to curiously be able to come up with solutions, or to be able to gain a better understanding of a given topic. This is also really invaluable when you can layer this on top of hands-on learning, giving students an opportunity instead of writing about global warming and researching about global warming. But what would it look like if students were given the task to be able to come up with a company or an organization that's going to help fight against global warming? What would they look like? What things would they need to design to be able to get their messaging out? What would the backstory of their organization be? These type of activities really give students an opportunity to go deep into understanding all the workings of a given topic and to be able to have a better understanding.
As a teacher, the fundamental approaches that help students develop these essential skills, to me, begins with the focus of everything I'm trying to do in every class that I teach, which is to move students away from being passive, disconnected consumers of other people's content to becoming active, connected producers of their own ideas. And so to me, these creative skills are best developed when students are creating, are making, are producing ideas by mixing and remixing texts that they're reading, things that they're studying, media that they produced or they've captured, so that at the end, what we're doing is really we're making not just cognitive connections, we're not just making connections between the different materials in a course, but we're making metacognitive connections about how best to learn and how best to develop skills that will last a lifetime. And to me, the fundamental approach for doing that is to ask students to create, to make, to problem solve, and along the way, you're going to be critically reflecting and thinking in ways that integrate what's going on in the course with the world around them.
I think educators really need to consider the value of making time and space for failure. And not only just failure, but the reflection that happens after the failure and the opportunity to correct those mistakes. So you might have a project or an assignment that was a total flop, and then being able to go back and have the time to look at it together, to figure out where it could have been better, to figure out where the breaking point was in that moment, and then having the opportunity to revisit it again, to try it again. So something of an iterative approach, but also just the space and time, which is what it really takes to redo things and to consider how things could be better.
Integrating essential creative skills into your curriculum doesn't have to be complicated, and you just start with taking a few small steps. So for example, I would suggest starting with assignments that have open-ended results where there's more than one right answer. These are things like science labs or literary analysis. Secondly, I'd suggest having and making space for workshop-style projects. And that's where students give each other feedback throughout the process of working on a project. And that helps them not only analyze and understand their own work very deeply, but also to see new perspectives and how other people are approaching the same project. Also, just transform your existing written reports or class presentations into things like explainer videos, podcasts, or documentaries. And it's the same information you're including, but it's just created in a way that allows for more creative opportunities. And then finally, I'd say collaborate with your students. Empower them to teach you and to teach the class about new creative tools and new topics.
There are certain routines that you can build in. One routine that's very simple is see, think, and wonder. And you just ask people, what do you see? What do you observe? What does that make you think about? And then from there, I often employ the design thinking process where students, empathize with a particular person or circumstance, situation, and then they begin to define a problem, and then they ideate, they create sort of ideas about how they could solve it, and they prototype those solutions, and then they test like how well it's worked and go back through the cycle again if they need to.
Some of the approaches that I take in my classroom to develop those essential creative skills involve choosing final end product that the students really care about. So either something that's high risk or something that really means a lot to them or means a lot to the community. And we really concentrate on them not pleasing me as the teacher, but them really creating something of value for their community, things that other people might be counting on for them to do a really good job. So we think high risk, we think big projects, we work in teams. I give a lot of leadership abilities and roles to each person on the team. There's a lot of student decision making that happens. I give them as much ownership as possible in the projects that we're working on. And we work together as a collaborative team to move forward as a class. They even get to choose some of the ways in which they're assessed so that they have a say in how they're graded and have a say in the grade that they actually get.
So what are some approaches to helping students really develop those essential skills? First of all, help them find their passion. Give them opportunities to create, to get involved in something they really care about, to share it with other people, and to make mistakes. Help them learn that making mistakes, recovering from those mistakes, that's where the learning is really happening.